St. Mary's Rough Riders and Celina Bulldogs each lost their first conference game of the season last week. They will try to rebound here tonight. It's high school football, and it's yours next on Game Face Ohio. Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Celina Stadium, where tonight the St. Mary's Rough Riders coming to town to take on the Bulldogs in a Western Buckeye League matchup. I'm Dan Hirn along with Paul Sadler, and we welcome you into the Minster Bank pregame show. Welcome back into Celina Stadium. The Bulldogs playing host to the Rough Riders tonight, Paul, in a game that pits two teams that are both 4-1 inside the Western Buckeye League.
Yeah, but this isn't any matchup of 4-1 teams. This is probably the marquee rivalry in this area of the state between two communities that are right next to each other with Celina and St. Mary's. Historically, the Rough Riders really have a big edge in this with a 62-28 overall series lead. However, the Bulldogs have actually won 3 out of the last 5 matchups, including the last 2 here.
We mentioned already that both of these teams are coming off a loss. The Rough Riders losing 28-7 to Bath. How will they rebound from that tonight, Paul?
Well, prior to their first loss against Bath, they actually had a 5-game winning streak, and Doug Fry, in his second tour back with St. Mary's, really has them playing really, really good football. As mentioned, they are currently tied for second place with the Redskins, behind the Walpock Redskins, tied with the Titans and the Bulldogs here tonight. So one of these two teams will remain in second place in the Western Buckeye League.
Key player to look for on the Rough Riders tonight?
Yeah, we're going to look at two-way standout, number 33, Julius Fisher. He's a very physical player. He's a leading tackler on the team and 7th in the Western Buckeye League in tackles. Although he's primarily a defensive player, injuries have pressed him to play a lot more on offense. 2 weeks ago, he had 117 yards rushing versus Elida, most of it on off-tackle plays, as you can see here on the left side of the big Rough Rider line. He's not the most explosive weapon for the Rough Riders, but he is their most punishing runner.
The Celina Bulldogs coming off a 35-14 loss at Wapakoneta last week. And Trent Temple's group is now 4-2 overall. What can we expect to see from them tonight?
Yeah, Trent Temple actually, Celina had a 4-game winning streak of their own, halted last week against the Walpock Redskins. Celina really took a little while to find themselves last week, who struggled offensively in the first half, but then looked fairly good in the second half against the Walpock Redskins. And Coach Trent Temple really looking to rebound big time here tonight.
The Bulldogs offense centers around their quarterback, Caleb Hoying.
Caleb Hoying is a 3-year starter. He's currently 3rd in the WBL in passing with 700 yards. He's a very efficient player with 8 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions on the year. However, last week he was only 12 for 28 passing with those 2 interceptions versus Walpock. Going into that game, he was completing over 60% of his passes. Now he's about at 56. But he can also use his big body as a running threat, as he's 2nd on the team in rushing and 8th in the WBL in rushing touchdowns.
These two teams, obviously the big rivalry here. What are their keys to victory tonight? Let's start with the St. Mary's Rough Riders and their 3 keys to winning.
Well, they need to get back to Rough Rider football. 2 weeks ago, they put up 425 yards on the ground against Elida, but last week against Bath, were only able to manage 68 yards rushing. Celina's only 7th in the WBL against the run, so look to them to be physical and try to run the ball. They also need to take care of the football. They have 18 turnovers on the year. Celina, by comparison, only has 4.
And for Celina, their keys to victory look like this.
Although they want some sort of balanced attack, I really think they should air it out. They're 3rd in the league in passing, and they're going against a defense that's right now ranked 9th in the Western Buckeye League. They got to swarm to the ball on defense with this big rushing attack, and they can't hurt themselves. They're the least penalized team in the Western Buckeye League, and they committed 2 of their 4 turnovers on the year last week.
It's high school football, and it's yours next on Game Face Ohio.
TSC can save you money.
How?
TSC can save you money with Emerge.
What's Emerge?
The Emerge bundle plan. TSC will merge your phone, cable TV, and internet in one nice, neat package to save you money.
How much money?
A boatload. The Emerge bundle plan only from TSC.
TSC, give us a call and see. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
At Minster Bank, we understand that life can get hectic. That's why when it comes to your banking, we offer the services that make your life simpler with tools like person-to-person payments, Pop Money, mobile and online banking, and bill pay. But most of all, Minster Bank is a supportive member of your community with personal relationships and customer service that reach outside of our branches. Minster Bank, helping people achieve financial success.
TSC Touchdown Friday, brought to you by Telephone Service Company, Stolly Insurance, Minster Bank, Owen Kitchen and Bath Showroom, Finkelmeyer Insurance Agency, Frost Roofing, The United Way, and the Wapakoneta Family YMCA.
A key matchup in the Western Buckeye League here tonight in Celina as the St. Mary's Rough Riders are into town to take on the Celina Bulldogs. I'm Dan Hirn along with Paul Sadler. Paul, homecoming here in Celina, and there just doesn't need to be anything else added on to this game because this is already an outstanding rivalry.
It's an outstanding rivalry, but it's also a big matchup. As we mentioned, these two teams are tied for second place. They're battling for position in the Western Buckeye League. They're also battling for playoff position. As of right now, St. Mary's is 4th and Celina is 5th in their respective region. This could be a potential playoff matchup yet. Obviously, a lot of football left to play, but just going to be a tremendous atmosphere, a very intimate setting here in Celina, and two really big raucous crowds.
The Celina Bulldogs won the toss and will receive to start tonight's ball game, so we will see their offense led by Caleb Hoying, and they will be on the field first. Tristan Meyer will kick it away, and Paul, you talked about the intimate setting. You don't get much closer to the field than you do right here in Celina.
No, it's a very interesting press box that is above us.
Yeah, we visited it.
Yes, it overhangs the field, and when I was coaching, it actually gives you the best sight lines of any high school place that I've ever been to, high school field I've ever been. So it's very unique, very old school type setup.
I'm sorry, that was Michael Franks to put the foot into it. I'm getting my teams mixed up. Return here as a flag comes down already. This one returned out to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, there's actually two flags. One appears to maybe St. Mary's was offside, but then there's also one where you would expect some sort of either block of the back or hold on the receiving team, so for Celina.
So we'll see how they mark this one out.
So it kind of brings a little bit of a contrast here between the two teams. Celina, again, is the least penalized team in the Western Buckeye League coming into the game, only being penalized 19 times on the season for 120 yards. And St. Mary's, the second most penalized team with 35.
There you see your quarterback, Caleb Hoying. We talked about him in the pregame show.
Yeah, and he's a big body, 6'4", 215, both a basketball standout as well as a football standout for the Bulldogs.
So the penalty will go against Celina and mark them back to the 15-yard line. That's where they'll start their first possession of the ball game. Hoying will work out of the shotgun with two receivers to his left. He is back to pass, fires it over, and it's caught near the 20-yard line and up to the 23 after being wrestled down is Bondenheuvel.
Here we see the starting offensive line led by Mitch Mabry. Right guard, 210 pounds, and not one of the biggest lines in the Western Buckeye League, but they do a good job of protecting. skill players. You'll see a lot of familiar names here. Ryan Harder, 7th in the Western Buckeye League in all-purpose yards. Zach Marks also saw some time running the ball last week.
One receiver to the right, and the pitch will come to the near side. That's Marks up across the 30 to the 34-yard line, and a first down for Celina.
That's a little pitch play that we saw them try to run pretty unsuccessfully last week. It worked very successfully for them that time to get the first down in the game. Here's the defensive line of St. Mary's. Dane Chisholm kind of leads the way, and Reed Allard, the sophomore, getting a start.
4 receivers for Hoying to choose from here, and he'll hand it off to Marks. He gets back to the 35 to the 36-yard line. Not a lot there on a first down carry, but a couple.
Julius Fisher, we mentioned at the top, as a player to watch. Matt Patton actually making the change from defensive end back to linebacker for this game. And defensive backs, it's a very fluid situation. You'll see these 4 guys, Dustin Howe actually 3rd in the team in tackles. But you'll also see Drew Jacobs back there as well.
Marks in the backfield again with Hoying here on a 2nd down and 8. They put a man in motion across the backfield, and Hoying rolls out. Has time, fires it down the right side, and it's caught behind the behind the Rough Rider defense and into Rough Rider territory near the 30-yard line.
And Jacob Stolley, one of the favorite targets of Caleb Hoying, was able to get behind the Rough Rider defense on the corner route right there. And as mentioned at the top, that's something that they may try to exploit, the Rough Riders towards the bottom and pass defense in the Western Buckeye League.
So Stolley with the reception gets them all the way down to the 25-yard line.
And that 40-yard pickup.
Man in motion again across the backfield. The handoff goes to Marks. He goes up the middle of the field, and he's going to get down inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. So far, the Bulldogs moving the ball pretty effectively against this Rough Rider defense.
Yes, and this Rough Rider defense has had some really, really good games, but they've had some games where they've given up some yardage and some points as well. So Coach Nick Yale, the defensive coordinator for St. Mary's, looking to try to get a stop here on this first drive.
3 receivers set now on a 2nd down and 4. And Hoying will keep it himself. Goes off the left side. He'll dive forward. Picks up maybe a yard to the 18-yard line.
Little speed option look there to the left-hand side, but from the weak side, Julius Fisher, again, we'll call his name quite a bit, comes from the weak side to be able to make the play.
They'll give him positive yards down to the 17-yard line. So a 3rd down and 2 now coming up. First 3rd down situation of the night for Celina, and it'll be Hoying himself going up the middle, still fighting, and he'll be close to the 15-yard line. And depending on the spot, they may have a first down, and they're already motioning for it.
And I tell you what, that's where the big size comes in with Hoying. We saw that earlier in the year with Alexander from Elida. The big quarterback being able to hurt you with his legs is really becoming in vogue in the WBL this year.
I believe this is the 8th play of the drive coming up. Man in motion across the backfield to the near side. And it'll be Marks. Stop for little or no gain.
And Matt Patton right there with the big stop right at the line. But just kind of point things out how much different this is from last week. You know, Celina already has 4 first downs on this drive. They only had 2 the entire first half last week against Wapak.
Mm-hmm. Four receiver set again for Celina. This time Hoying will have Marks on his right hip on a 2nd down and 10 from the Rough Rider 15-yard line. Pressure. Hoying escapes one, then fires it into the inside the 5-yard line, but it's incomplete off the hands of his intended receiver at the 4.
Well, Caleb Hoying was getting excellent protection. He was back there a long time. Eventually, looks like some pressure was getting to him. I think that was Grant Keith that got a hand on Caleb Hoying as he got rid of it. Almost was able to come up with the touchdown.
Pass was just a little behind his intended receiver and drops incomplete. So a 3rd down and 10 now. And for Celina, they had made positive gains on every play up until these last 2 on this first possession. Hoying with time now, fires it out to the right side. It's going to be caught and into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Bulldogs take their first opportunity down the field and get into the end zone for a score.
Yeah, Jacob Stolley, although one of the bigger targets, favorite targets, as I mentioned before, his second catch of that drive. That is his first touchdown reception of the year, and Celina jumps to an early lead.
So the extra point attempt coming up here. Kick is up, and it is good. So with 8:09 remaining here in the first quarter, the Bulldogs jump out to the early lead over the rival St. Mary's. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Where is that TSC bill? How can I pay it if I can't find it?
You don't need the bill. You can pay it online at telcirco.com.
Wasn't there a special this month?
Yes, we got it from TSC's Facebook page.
I know I've got the announcement for the club here somewhere.
I just sent it to TSC to air on Channel 2. With telcirco.com, Facebook, Channel 2, and their newsletter, TSC makes it easy to stay connected.
Now, if they could just help me clean up my desk.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
We are state of the art.
We are professional.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have a great day. We are service you can trust.
We are here for you.
With custom fabrication, a variety of roofing options, and exceptional roofing knowledge and expertise, Frost Roofing is committed to providing top-notch quality service on every project. To learn more, visit us online at frost-roofing.com and follow us on social media.
A 10-play, 70-yard drive covering just under 4 minutes and capped by a 15-yard connection between Hoying and Stolley gives the Celina Bulldogs the lead, and the kickoff on the ensuing kickoff muffed on the fielding and then dropped inside the 5-yard line as the return man Seth Voorhees, and the Rough Riders have a long way to go to tie things up.
Yeah, definitely not the way that Coach Fry would like to start. Dustin Howe is going to lead his offense onto the field, and this is not where they want to start.
So the Rough Riders had a difficult week last week with Bath, 28-7. They had some issues, Paul, dealing with the big running attack that Bath threw at them. Howell under center, and it'll be Spicer, I believe, going up the middle.
So again, the Rough Riders going to look to try to get and establish themselves on the offensive line with a big push. Starting so deep, inside their own 5-yard line, definitely not how you want to start. But even a 3-yard gain helps give yourself a little bit of breathing room.
Second down and 7 now, and another short gain off the right side. This time up to the 9-yard line. So a 3rd down and about 5 coming up for the Rough Riders.
I believe that's Ian Hawkins, big sophomore, 280 pounds, got in there to be able to wrestle him down.
St. Mary's comes into this ball game averaging 252 yards on the ground. They're going to need that kind of effort tonight. Here is Fisher again, this time up the middle. He'll get out to the 11-yard line. It's going to leave them short of the first down, and St. Mary's going to be forced into a punt situation deep in their own territory on their first possession of the game.
Well, this couldn't be scripted any better for the Celina Bulldogs. They go down, look pretty good on their first drive, get 7 points. Then they get a 3-and-out and look to get excellent field position.
Patton will stand in his own end zone to kick this one away on a 4th down and 3, and Celina should have pretty good field position. High snap and a low kick. It'll be fielded in St. Mary's territory at the 44-yard line. Back up the near side. He's inside the 20, and he'll be downs near.
Unfortunately for the Celina Bulldogs, that's going to come back. A very obvious block in the back there by Cole Merlin. Is going to cost them a lot of field position. Even without that, you would have been inside the 50. Now you're going to be on the other side of the 50 after this 10-yard penalty is going to be marched off.
So a great return negated by But Celina still with fantastic field position to start their second possession.
But you don't want to get in the habit of hurting yourself and costing yourself yardage when you don't have to. You know, that was a very avoidable penalty right there.
Well, and as you mentioned, Paul, at the top of the broadcast, Celina, one of the least penalized teams in the Western Buckeye League.
Yeah, the least penalized team. Through 6 games, only been penalized 19 times.
Keeling in motion across the backfield. It'll be Marks up the middle of the field, and he'll pick up 3 to the midfield stripe. 2nd down and 7 coming up.
So I know we originally had Harder listed as a starter, but I haven't seen him out there. So I wonder if something's wrong with Harder and Marks now just kind of playing exclusively running back.
You know, Harder left the ball game last week in Wapakoneta, and we didn't see him at the end of that ball game either.
Well, like I said, he was kind of vital cog to this Celina Bulldog offense.
Leading rusher. Man in motion. Hit in the backfield, but twists his way across midfield to the 49-yard line on the Rough Riders side of the field. A 3rd down. And let's call it 5 coming up.
Yeah, Grant Keith, first one to meet him there in the backfield, but again, Hoying just so big, able to get a small gain out of what should have been a small loss.
So it'll actually be 3rd down at 6.
And Hoying been very effective passing the ball, 3 for 4 so far passing.
Celina is 2 for 2 on 3rd downs. Keeling in motion across the backfield again. Hoying getting pressure, steps up, rolls out to the far side, and he's going to be spun down after a gain of only a yard. A 4th down coming up for the Bulldogs.
Austin Giesige right there, preventing Hoying from getting any further. If he wasn't able to get him, there's a good chance he might have been able to scramble for that 1st down.
A few substitutions there for Celina. We'll see what they do here.
It's going to be
and officials are going to take a timeout.
Yeah, got a little bit of helmet issue, but you know, even here, this is where that 10-yard penalty even comes to hurt you. If you're inside, you know, their 40, there's a chance you might go for it, but right around midfield, you know, that 10 yardage can really change your mindset as a coach.
You think these are all things that that player may hear after the game?
Well, if he watches this broadcast, he will.
All right, so a 4th down and 5 for Celina, and a punt situation here. Caleb Hoying handles the punting duties.
And Voorhees back again. Coach Fry showing support to the youngster, getting a chance to return it again.
Hoying puts the foot into it. Logan May is also back there. Voorhees will let it hit, and it'll roll out of bounds at about the 9-yard line. So, again, poor starting field position for St. Mary's to start their 2nd drive.
Yeah, excellent directional punt right there by Caleb Hoying. And we'll see if the Rough Riders can put together a little better drive than they managed that 1st drive.
Yeah, 3 and out for the Rough Riders on their 1st possession.
As mentioned, just the contrast of their offense 2 weeks ago against Elida looks as good as anyone we've seen running the ball. And then last week, only 68 yards against, granted, a very good Bath defense.
41-yard kick by Caleb Hoying. And as you mentioned, Paul, good direction. Pins the Rough Riders deep, so they'll start 1st down and 10 at their own 8-yard line as we're under 4 minutes to play here in the 1st quarter. Powell will bring him to the line of scrimmage. He has Spicer and Fisher in the backfield behind him. It'll be Spicer going to the left side. Cuts it back to the middle, and he's going to go down near the 14-yard line and pick up a 5 on 1st down.
And Spicer's a home run threat that was really kept in check last week. He's currently 3rd in the Western Buckeye League rushing, about 1st in overall all-purpose yardage. He's averaging 132 yards a game with just over 7 yards a carry.
Give him 7 yards on that 1st. See, they have it 3rd down and 3 now. 3 minutes to go. Here's Fisher going to the right side. Short gain.
And I don't think he got the 1st down. So a little bit of a trend breaker there by the Rough Riders. Instead of running Fisher off the left-hand side, try to go with a little quick pitch. to the strong side. It's going to bring up a 4th and 1, and Coach Fry is going to send out the punt team.
So 2 possessions for the Rough Riders. And they've totaled up about 16 yards of total offense so far. Matt Patton will be back there to kick it away. And again, he's kicking from deep in his own territory, this time actually outside of his own end zone. He'll put the foot into it at the 5. This one will be fielded at midfield. And back across the 45 to the 43-yard line is Jacob Stolley. So this time, no penalty on the punt return. And the Bulldogs will start in St. Mary's territory on this, their 3rd possession tonight.
And that will make such a difference. As long as you're getting positive yardage on this, considering where you're starting at, you're going to be a lot more aggressive. And, you know, if you have a 4th and 3, you're probably going to go for it in this situation. But obviously, Celina is going to be a little bit more aggressive than that, to where hopefully they want to move the ball and avoid a 4th down altogether.
Well, the Bulldogs didn't do much moving on their last possession, as St. Mary's obviously made some adjustments defensively.
Well, the coverage is a little bit better. You know, they give the first long pass play.
Here's a pitch to Marks. He goes off the right side inside the 40 to the 37-yard line.
You know, out of the pistol, that's almost a pass on that pitch. We were just at the perfect angle. That ball almost went forward on that little pitch play. That might have been an adjustment from last week where they had a tough time getting that outside edge against the Walpock Redskins, and just that little bit more quickness of getting the ball out there resulted in a little bit more yardage.
5 yards on the pickup, brings up a 2nd down and 5. We're under 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter. And Hoying will again work out of the shotgun, puts Keeling in motion. Hoying with time, lobs it out to Keeling on the right side. And he'll get a yard, maybe 2.
So the Rough Riders aren't content just to kind of sit back. They're bringing bodies at Hoying, forcing him to make a quick decision. That time he didn't have very much time to look downfield and immediately went to his check down receiver. But this does bring up a 3rd and short.
Hoying's had pretty good protection so far tonight, though, Paul.
Yeah, the line is kind of more built to be a good run block, excuse me, a good pass protecting. Again, one of the lighter offensive lines in the Western Buckeye League.
So a 3rd down and 3 now. And the handoff will be to Marks. He finds some space to the left side, inside the 20, to the 10, and wrestled down inside the 5 at the 3-yard line.
What a great execution. Snuck the ball right in there to Marks, and Vondenheuvel should be credited a tremendous down the field block to really get him almost all the way down to the end zone. Tremendous 3rd and 3 execution by the Celina Bulldogs.
So now a 1st and goal for the Bulldogs as they try to add.
You see the wide open space there on that draw play.
35-yard gain for Marks as Caleb Hoying keeps it himself, and he'll dive forward to about the 1. And this ball is where that size of Hoying comes into play.
Sure, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that again, especially teams run out of the pistol like Celina Bulldogs do. That tends to be their goal line play of choice.
That'll be the final play of the first quarter. A first quarter that was dominated by the home team here in Celina. 7-0, the Bulldogs on top. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Hello?
Call dropped?
Hello?
No more minutes? Lost your phone? Don't worry, telephone service from TSC is always crystal clear. Never runs out of minutes, never has a dead battery, and most importantly, in an emergency, it displays your address for 911. Plus, TSC keeps you connected with free calling in our expanded calling area. Ask about telephone service from TSC today.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Owen Kitchen and Bath Showroom has been family owned and operated since 1990. We can help you from start to finish with your entire project. Let one of our professional designers put the final touches on your project. Owen Kitchen and Bath now has 2 showrooms to better serve you in Wapakoneta and Lima. Owen Kitchen and Bath, cabinetry that will take your breath away at prices that won't.
Back here for the start of the second quarter, and the Celina Bulldogs threatening to score again. They lead 7-0 here after taking their opening possession down the field for 70 yards and a touchdown. And now taking advantage of good field position. It'll be Marks up the middle, and he is going to get into the end zone for a touchdown.
So I believe I have that down as Mark's first rushing touchdown of the year. And Celina, with the first play into the second quarter, 4 seconds in, take a 2-touchdown lead in this big rivalry game.
So Merlin will be on to attempt the extra point here. And a flag comes down before he can get it off. And it looks like St. Mary's may have jumped across.
And Celina actually is probably going to decline this penalty. Getting an extra 1.5 yards closer isn't that big of a deal throwing off your kickers. Kickers tend to be a little wanting to stay in the same routine. So they'll just stay where they're at.
The hold is down, the kick is up, and it goes into the Pines. So with 11:56 remaining here in the second quarter, the Bulldogs strike again, leading 14-0. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
TV everywhere.
TV everywhere?
That's right, everywhere. You can watch TV from your tablet, your phone, your laptop, any mobile device, anywhere you want.
Laundromat?
Yes.
Grocery store?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
What if I wanted to watch TV at home?
All your favorite networks all the time. It's TV everywhere from TSC.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Well, the Celina Bulldogs took advantage of great field position. They go 4 plays, 43 yards in 2 minutes and 12 seconds and punch it into the end zone with a 1-yard run by Marks to give themselves a 14-0 lead.
And something the St. Mary's Rough Riders could really use here is a big play on special teams. They've had 2 drives and both started within their own 10-yard line, so they need a little bit of a jolt, and maybe they can get it here on special teams.
Hoying puts the foot into it, a good kick. It'll be fielded at the 11-yard line by Voorhees back across the 20. He'll be tripped up and goes down at the 27. So the best starting field position of the night for the Rough Riders. But unfortunately for them, it comes after they're down by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's not great field position, but you know, compared to what they have been used to, it's got to feel great.
Yeah.
That being said, you know, Coach Fry is not going to panic. They've been in this position before. In the first Western Buckeye League game, they played Van Wert. They're down 20-0 in the second quarter and came back and won.
Hand off to Spicer, looking for the right side. He'll be knocked down after a gain of maybe a yard. And Paul, if the Rough Riders, let's take a look at the offensive line first.
Yeah, big offensive line. That left side led by Zach Elsoff and Aaron Alexander. Like to run behind those 2 guys. Skill positions, Eric Spicer, as mentioned, is a big-time home run hitter that Coach Fry like to see kind of get going here. Logan Mays also capable of making big plays.
They will come to the line of scrimmage now. They're going to mark him down as having no gain on that first down carry, so it's a 2nd down and 10. And a gain up the middle of the field across the 30 to the 32 for Fisher.
A lot of good movement right there, and Seth Houston, actually a big 230-pound freshman, made the play right there, as we see as one of the starters. Linebackers, Marks, who just scored that touchdown, also Ryan Harder, another one of the 2-way starters for the Celina Bulldogs.
3rd down and 5 coming up now for the Rough Riders. Howell under center. He will hand it off, and it'll be Tester coming to the near side, but sniffed out by the Bulldogs. And, that was Logan Mays.
And Zach Bigelow did a great job. We saw him last week really taking on the blockers really well, as we see the secondary for Celina. Once again, able to make the play when they're trying to kick him out. And once again, another 3 and out.
So Patton will punt it away again. This is third punt of the night. And he puts the foot into it. It'll be fielded by Stolle at the 35. Back across the 40. And he's across midfield. Still on his feet. He's going to be wrestled down inside the 40 at the 38-yard line of the Rough Riders.
So Celina is going to start with tremendous field position, but again, it's all of their own doing. Their defense is getting the stops that they need. They're getting positive plays in special teams. The St. Mary's Rough Riders really need to dig in and get a stop right here. You can see the replay. Nice return there by Stolle. Makes a couple guys miss. Then finally Dustin Howell able to take him out.
28-yard return by Stolle sets up the Bulldogs at the 39-yard line. And St. Mary's has not had a lot of answers on defense so far. Hoying with the pitch. Left side to Marks. He cuts it back to the middle, and he's going to get down inside the 35. A pickup of about 7 on first down.
Again, compared to how that play was executed last week, a stark contrast in terms of execution and getting yards. And Mark's making a smart decision. Initially, that's supposed to go outside. He saw that there's an unblocked man there, cut it up inside, and had some enough interior blocking to get a good gain.
Second down and 3 now. 2 receivers to the right. Hoying again with the pitch. Left side Marks. He's going to bounce off of 1 tackle and fall forward for a first down to the 26-yard line.
And we saw Chisholm come right in there to try to get that play initially. Wasn't able to get there, and because of that, Celina is able to move the sticks again. That's their 8th first down of the game, and St. Mary's has yet to get one.
Hoying again out of the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right. Takes a snap. They fake the pitch this time, and Hoying keeps it himself straight up the middle of the field. He's still on his feet as he gets down inside the 15-yard line to the 11 and picks up another Celina first down.
And we mentioned Hoying is one of the better runners on this team as well. He was second on the team coming into. He's now first on the team again and regaining the rushing lead on the team. But nice little counter play. Faked the pitch they've been running successfully, and then he just took it up the middle.
15-yard gain for Hoying. This time not so much. And he's back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard on the play.
So Celina being very, very balanced. They have 99 yards passing. They now have about 64 yards on the ground.
And they are threatening again. I have the ball at the 10-yard line now. Second down and 9 coming up. Hoying with 2 receivers to his right. And this time the pitch to Marks, going for the left side. Cuts it back into the middle, and he's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown.
And that's Marks' second trip to the end zone of the game. And Celina looking really strong so far here, Dan.
Yeah, Paul, not exactly what we were expecting coming into this game, with both of these teams having only suffered their first Western Buckeye League loss last week. But so far, Celina responding to that loss much better than the Rough Riders. Merlin on to attempt the extra point. The hold is down, the kick is up. And it's good. 8:01 left in this first half of play, and the Celina Bulldogs up by 3 touchdowns here early. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Sure, you don't need a set-top box to watch cable, but without one, you're not getting everything your TV has to offer. Add a set-top box from TSC to your television and get more channels. Get a channel guide that tells you all about the shows. Run multiple devices through one universal remote, and you can even add DVR and HD channels. Get everything your TV has to offer with a set-top box. Call TSC and ask for your set-top box today.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Strength is about so much more than the body. It's about being together, serving, sharing, and caring for those around us. It's about keeping score in the heart rather than on a scoreboard. Be a part of a community that builds more than your body. At the Wapakoneta Family YMCA.
Well, the Celina Bulldogs have dominated so far on defense. They've played well on special teams, and they've given themselves great field position. Their last possession started at the St. Mary's 39-yard line. They took 5 plays to put it into the end zone for the 3rd time tonight. The 2nd time for Zach Marks as he took it in from 10 yards out, and Merlin's extra point made it a 21-0 Celina lead. Hoying puts the foot into it here. It'll be fielded by Tester at the 14-yard line. Back to the middle of the field, and up across the 30. He gets a good push to the 31-yard line. That'll be the starting field position for the Rough Riders, their best of the night.
Yeah, we'll see if that's a spark that can kind of get them going. Again, Coach Fry's team has been tested, however. We mentioned earlier they overcame a 20-0 deficit against Van Wert to beat them 21-20, but they also trailed by 17 points in week 4 to Kenton and ended up winning that one going away 42-23.
Spicer brings it to the near side of the field. He's going to be met at the line of scrimmage. He'll fall forward to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 3 on 1st down.
And when you're going to make a comeback, you're not going to get it all at once. Sometimes you have to start with small victories. You know, the first small victory is just getting a 1st down. You get a 1st down, you start to feel a little bit better about yourself and better about execution. Still a lot of ball game to be played here.
Hoying will be under center. Fisher and Spicer in the backfield. It'll be Spicer again, this time off to the right side, and he'll leap across the 40, up close to a 1st down. We'll see if they give it to him. If they do, it'll be their 1st of the night, and it is.
And Spicer kind of leaping ahead, hurdling himself to that 1st down right there for the Rough Riders.
Little Ezekiel Elliott kind of move there.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as high. Here is Spicer off the left side, finds a hole across midfield, and he'll be close to another 1st down after he rips off 9 yards to the 48-yard line of Celina.
And playing with tempo is something that it gets associated with the spread and a lot of passing, but Doug Fry's Rough Rider offense plays with a lot of tempo when they're running the ball well.
2nd down and less than a yard here. And a timeout going to be taken by Celina. And we will take that timeout as well. 6:42 left here in the half. Celina on top by a score of 21-0. You are watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
For over 100 years, the Stolly Insurance Team has been looking out for you.
We have access to major insurance companies all over the country.
But together, we can customize an insurance program that will offer you the best coverage for the best premiums.
Let us look out for you. Give us a call for a personalized proposal today.
Proudly featuring Motorist Insurance, Stolly Insurance in Lima, Wapak, Celina, and Lakeview. Representing Motorist Insurance Group and other fine insurance companies. Stolly Insurance.
Are you looking for paradise? Find it in your backyard with Eversoul Pool and Spa. Featuring a wide selection of swimming pools and spas, let Eversoul Pool and Spa create your oasis. Visit the Eversoul Pool and Spa showroom just east of the Lima Mall on Elida Road, or visit their website at eversoulpoolandspa.com.
That just finally started to fire on all cylinders. Howell is back to pass. and he is going to be swarmed under on the St. Mary's side of the field. He'll go down at the 49-yard line.
Coach Fry getting a little bit aggressive right there, going with a play-action pass, but the Celina Bulldogs were ready for it. Tester was well covered, as well as Jace Green was the big tight end was out in the pattern. Both of them were well covered, so Celina able to prevent that. Now pushes it back for us at 3rd and 3.
It'll be Fisher off the left side, and he's going to get the first down as he gets down to the 47-yard line on the Celina side of the field.
While Spicer and Mays are more big play, fast guys, Fisher is the big, strong runner that has really developed here for the Rough Rider rushing attack. And there's still kind of a hold up here as they have not officially given this as a first down.
Right.
From our angle, I think this is a pretty slam dunk.
Right. Well, I saw the official in the backfield motioning to the guys with the sticks to move forward, and now it almost, I mean, we're pretty much lined up with this one, Paul. I don't see this one as being very close.
You know, we don't always get these right, but I feel pretty good about saying, no, I think that this is a first down.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it is. Still.
Real good look that we can see there from our press box cam.
Yeah, right. High atop. That might be is that the blimp cam? We have the blimp here tonight.
You know, we're getting all kinds of new vehicles.
We are.
The Game Face Ohio blimp.
Maybe it's that drone. I ordered that drone. Maybe it finally came in. Well, after a slight delay, the Rough Riders will have the ball again, and moving it up the middle of the field is Spicer. He gets down inside the 40 to the 34-yard line, and all of a sudden, the St. Mary's offense has come to life.
And again, Spicer is the one that can get, you know, yardage in big chunks.
Another first down. This time they won't measure. Here's the handoff to Spicer again. Left side, gets a block, spins out of one tackle, and falls forward inside the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Almost too fast for his own good at that time. He ran up the back of his pulling lineman, Joey Morlino. But again, just look at the pace that the Rough Riders are playing with all the way up to the line again.
Powell under center, handoff right up the middle to Fisher, and he plows his way forward to the 20-yard line. That'll be another Rough Rider first down. So after going the majority of the first half without a first down, the Rough Riders now rolling them up play after play. Here's Spicer, finds a corner, he's spun down as he gets to the 16-yard line.
And a bit of adjustment that has been made is they've switched both Spicer and Fisher. Spicer had been playing fullback, and now they've moved him to the halfback and moved Fisher inside, which is traditionally where you usually want your bigger guy to be the fullback. And Spicer was a halfback, but because of injuries to Bo Kenning and then to Chase Roop has forced him to play a little bit out of position at times. But now they've kind of gone back to more traditional roles with Fisher as the fullback, running in this trap there once again.
Gets that ball down to the 9-yard line, and another St. Mary's first down. They'll be set up first and goal here. Their first scoring threat of the night. Howell under center. Handoff Spicer looking left side. He's hitting the backfield, and he'll be dropped for a loss of a yard. Couple of green jerseys in there on him.
Yeah, and really Zach Bigelow coming off that defensive end spot really kind of stymied that play, and then Ian Hawkins comes in and gets his fourth tackle for the loss of the year.
So second down and goal from the 9 now.
And then Hawkins is just an impressive looking player, just kind of standing there waiting for the next play. 6 foot, 280 pounds, and only a sophomore. So, you know, Coach Temple has a lot of young guys up front with Hawkins and the freshman Houston being supplemented with against some solid senior play with Mabry and Bigelow.
12th play of the drive, and it's Fisher looking for the corner of the end zone, and he will find it. Touchdown. Julius Fisher takes it 9 yards out to get the Rough Riders on the board. And on that possession, they look like a completely different team.
The Rough Riders do answer back with Julius Fisher's fourth touchdown of the game, fourth touchdown of the year, excuse me. And the Rough Riders are back in business. And as mentioned, they are not going to panic. This is a long game. They've been there before, and you just start with steps, and this is the big first step with the first touchdown of the game for the Rough Riders.
Extra point is up, and it is good. So 4:16 remaining here in the half, and the Rough Riders put together their best offensive drive of the night and cut into that Celina lead. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Come out to Astro Lanes in the Loft Bar and Grill, where you can find great food, good drinks, fun games, and of course, bowling. Astro Lanes, a great place to spend some spare time.
The Wapakoneta Daily News, bringing you local news and more since 1905. With subscriptions starting at just 35 cents a day, the Wapakoneta Daily News is Wapak's source for timely local coverage of news, sports, classifieds, entertainment, and more. The Wapakoneta Daily News. Subscribe online today.
Well, the St. Mary's Rough Riders strung together 12 plays for 68 yards in 3 minutes and 38 seconds and got into the end zone for the first time tonight. The ensuing kickoff here returned by Celina out to the 30-yard line. A 9-yard run by Julius Fisher got the Rough Riders on the board. And Paul, in that drive, the Rough Riders put together more plays than they had on all of their offensive possessions leading up to it.
Yeah, in stark contrast from the 3 first possessions, which were 3 and outs, only 9 plays total and no first downs. That time they put 5 first downs together, but most importantly, put 7 points on the board.
So Celina will get the ball back after the first score of the night for the Rough Riders, and they will try to answer here. Here is Marks, left side, and he picks up positive yards out to about the 35-yard line.
The Bulldogs really starting to exploit that left side on that pitch play.
They have been successful with that all night, and Mark's having himself quite a night.
Here's a good look there at Coach Trent Temple in his 3rd year as head coach at Celina. The Van Wert High School alumni.
Same formation here on 2nd down. They fake the pitch to Marks, and it'll be Hoying to go up the middle, and he'll get across the 40 to the 41-yard line, about a yard short of the first down.
So 2 real positive plays on 1st and 2nd down, and sets up a 3rd and 1 for the Celina Bulldogs. And you know, if the Rough Riders want to continue this momentum that they build up on offense, a big stop here defensively would certainly contribute to that.
It'll bring up a 3rd and 1. Closing in on 3 minutes to play here in the half. 4 receivers set now for the Bulldogs as Hoying works out of the shotgun. Marks back there with him on his left hip. Hoying will keep it himself, and he's going to be stopped short of the line of scrimmage, it looks like.
And that's the stop the Rough Riders needed. I was looking at the defensive alignment. There wasn't a person that wasn't within 3 yards of the ball that time for the Rough Rider defense. They were going to sell out on that run, and they were able to get the stop. Now it's decision time for the Celina Bulldogs. It is a 4th down, but it's a 4th and very short. And it appears that they're going to go.
Well, he'll be out there either way, but you're right, Paul. He will be in the shotgun now.
He's a little bit
taking
deeper.
A few steps back to kick it away. Puts the foot into it, and he has got a big foot. Hammers that one down inside the 10-yard line, and Celina will down it at the 1.
Well, actually, I think it's closer to about the 2-yard line, but irregardless, the 3rd time they're going to start inside their own 10. It could not have been done more perfectly for the Celina Bulldogs. We could kind of tell from our vantage point that he's deeper than is normal, but when you're on the other side of the ball, sometimes it's tough to catch that depth, and no one did get back there to be able to catch that. So all net on that particular punt for the Bulldogs, backs the Rough Riders up.
Now actually spotted at the 3-yard line, so the Rough Riders will have 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go 97 yards, and the first play on this possession goes for slightly less than that. A couple of yards on the first down carry.
That 57-yard punt, that was all net. A lot of stuff to have to deal with offensively for the Rough Riders, but again, the biggest thing for them is to try to maintain possession throughout this half. If you can break one, that's great, but you got to move the chains to make sure that Celina doesn't get the ball back.
Well, so far they don't seem to be in a huge hurry. They're down to 5 seconds on the play clock, and now Coach Fry is going to take a timeout with just 1:29.
Well, I don't think you really need to be in a hurry here. The biggest thing, you want to get a first down. You get a first down, then basically you can kind of start to make a decision. If you got a good chunk of yardage, maybe you start to become more aggressive and look to score, but you have realistically a long way to go between you and the end zone with a minute and a half to go. The biggest thing you don't want to do is make a major mistake and go to the locker room down more than what you are right now.
Right. So Coach Fry out talking to him. And Paul, and as you know, the Rough Riders will get the ball back to start the second half because Celina started the ball game with this, with the opening kickoff.
Well, you've already established that you're capable of putting the ball in the end zone and putting a drive together. So by scoring most recently, you have some momentum that you can really get in the players' heads to believe that they can a comeback is very possible.
They'll come to the line of scrimmage here on a 2nd down and 8, backed up at their own 5-yard line. And the handoff goes to Spicer. He finds the corner. He's outside the 30, and he's going to be run out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
And that's kind of the spark you want to look for in that type of situation. If you can bust a long one like Spicer's definitely capable of, that changes your mentality big time. There's still a minute 21 left, which is a decent amount of time when you still have 2 timeouts left. You're probably going to need a couple more big gains, but that one definitely bails out the Rough Riders out of that terrible field position.
27 yards on the carry for Spicer. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, and Howell will fire it out to the right side where it's caught by Tester. Across the 35, he'll get up to the 38-yard line. And St. Mary's again continues to hustle back to the line of scrimmage.
We're going to go hurry up right here. Nice open field tackle on Tester.
Howell again in the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, and he'll bring it to the near side himself. He's going to be run out of bounds as he gets to the 43-yard line.
That's going to be close to the sticks. We'll see if this is marked as a first down.
And they're going to go ahead and mark that one as a first down. 55 seconds left in the half.
So amazing what one play can do to change your mentality. Instead of being in kind of survival, run the ball mode, now they're going to be in shotgun looking to try to be aggressive.
Here's Tester hitting the backfield and drop for a loss of a couple back to the 42.
I mentioned him before. Ian Hawkins, that's his 2nd tackle for loss in this game, his 5th on the season. He is a load.
Timeout going to be taken by St. Mary's with just 48 seconds left in the half. And Paul, they continue to move the ball here on this possession. They're getting to the line of scrimmage quick, and that seems to be the biggest thing, the biggest difference between the first 3 possessions and the last 2.
Well, usually it takes some positive plays to start to play with some tempo. And once you start getting things to go your way, it's a lot easier to play quicker, and it gets the defense just that much more on their heels. So, things tend to try to breed more success when you start playing with tempo. And you can start to see that, again, at all levels when they go hurry up and they go quick snap.
Well, a 2nd down and 12 now coming up for the Rough Riders with the 48 seconds left in the half. Rough Riders with 1 timeout remaining. They started this drive at their own 3-yard line. 1 receiver wide to each side as Howell works out of the shotgun with Spicer back there with him. Howell under pressure, lobs it over to the near side, caught by Tester. He's across midfield to the 40, and he'll get knocked out of bounds inside the 35-yard line at the 34.
Well-designed and executed play there. Had a lot going on in the backfield, and it really seemed to confuse Celina. Did not recognize the screen pass being set up on the left-hand side, and Tester, his 2nd catch of this drive, puts the Rough Riders in Celina field
23 yards on that last one as Howell sets up another one, this time to the right side. And Voorhees will make the reception, a gain of about 3.
Clock's running though.
But 28 seconds left in the half. St. Mary's not in it, not calling the timeout here as they move down to 19 seconds. Down to 15 seconds as Howell still waiting to snap it. He gets it off with 11 seconds left. Fires it deep down the right side, and it's going to be caught by Spicer. Touchdown.
And apparently they knew what they were doing, taking their time. Eric Spicer, a perfect pass by Dustin Howell. His 7th touchdown pass of the season. Spicer, the big play threat, and a 97-yard drive. And the Rough Riders, who looked dead in the water about half a quarter ago, are right back in this ball game.
Well, Voorhees will be out there to attempt the extra point now with 5 seconds left in the half. The kick is up, and it is good. Well, what looked like a game that was getting away from these Rough Riders is now a 1-touchdown lead for Celina. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
TSC can save you money.
How?
TSC can save you money with Emerge.
What's the Merge?
The Emerge bundle plan. TSC will merge your phone, cable TV, and internet in one nice neat package to save you money.
How much money?
A boatload. The Emerge bundle plan only from TSC.
TSC, give us a call and see. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
At Minster Bank, we understand that life can get hectic. That's why when it comes to your banking, we offer the services that make your life simpler with tools like person-to-person payments, pop money, mobile and online banking, and bill pay. But most of all, Minster Bank is a supportive member of your community with personal relationships and customer service that reach outside of our branches. Minster Bank, helping people achieve financial success.
Well, we have a whole new ball game here in Celina. 21-14, the Bulldogs on top as St. Mary's lines this one into the front line of the Bulldog return team. And it'll be covered at the 41-yard line. But Paul, the Rough Riders plays 97 in a minute and 41 seconds. A 32-yard pass from Howell to Spicer to cap it. And they are back to within a touchdown.
Yes, and Adam Dell confirms from the truck that Eric Spicer is a big-time player that you got to keep your eye on. Actually ran the wheel route coming out of the backfield on that particular play, and that ball could not have been thrown any more accurately by Dustin Howell. And with them going to get the ball, the Rough Riders getting the ball to start the second half, the Rough Rider crowd and sideline feel entirely different compared to they did about 20 minutes ago.
Right. Howell was 4 for 4 on that possession, Paul, for 64 yards, including that 32-yard touchdown pass. Well, the Rough Riders came to life late in the second quarter and made it a ball game out of this one as we go to the break. Homecoming night here in Celina. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Where is that TSC bill? How can I pay it if I can't find it?
You don't need the bill. You can pay it online at telcirco.com.
Wasn't there a special this month?
Yes, we got it from TSC's Facebook page.
I know I've got the announcement for the club here somewhere.
I just sent it to TSC to air on Channel 2. With telcirco.com, Facebook, Channel 2, and their newsletter, TSC makes it easy to stay connected.
Now, if they could just help me clean up my desk.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
We are state of the art.
We are professional.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have a great day. We are service you can trust.
We are here for you.
With custom fabrication, a variety of roofing options, and exceptional roofing knowledge and expertise, Frost Roofing is committed to providing top-notch quality service on every project. To learn more, visit us online at frost-roofing.com and follow us on social media.
halftime here in Celina, and the Bulldogs holding on to a 21-14 lead here at the break. It looked better for the Bulldogs early as we take a look at the scoring summary. They started off with a 10-play, 70-yard drive at the 8-minute and 9-second mark. And Hoying connected with Stolle for 15 yards and a touchdown. That gave the Bulldogs a 7-0 lead. That whole lead held up until the second quarter. A 4-play, 43-yard drive keyed by that Marks run ended on this Marks dive into the end zone and gave the Bulldogs a 14-0 lead. That 4-play, 43-yard drive. Then the Bulldogs struck again at the 8:01 mark in the second quarter, a 5-play, 39-yard drive that gave them a 21-0 lead. St. Mary's came alive on that 9-yard run by Julius Fisher to get on the board 21-7. That came at the 4:16 mark in the second quarter. And then just before the end of the half, Howell connected with Spicer on a 32-yard touchdown pass, a 7-play, 97-yard drive covering 1 minute and 41 seconds to get the Rough Riders back to within a touchdown as we went to the break, 21-14 in favor of Celina. And Paul, a tale of two quarters because Celina came out red hot, and it took the Rough Riders a little while to wake up.
Yeah, they dominated the first quarter and the first 4 minutes of the second quarter, but after that it was all Rough Riders. From a team stat standpoint, very deceiving. Celina has 10 first downs, and then St. Mary's has 9, but they're all consecutive. Celina had the first 10 first downs of the game before St. Mary's had any, and now the last 9 first downs belong to the Rough Riders. And overall, the total yards has really evened up as well, too, as the Rough Riders have 185 yards compared to 178 yards for Celina. So looking at individual statistics for the Rough Riders, Spicer leading the way on the ground with 78 yards on 10 carries, has 1 touchdown on the ground. Fisher chipping in 43 yards in the touchdown. Howe, a perfect 4 for 4 with 64 yards, where 32 of that was that touchdown pass you just saw to Spicer. Over to Celina, Marks leads the way with 54 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. Hoying, a very impressive 5 for 6 passing, 99 yards in the touchdown, and Stolle has that touchdown along with 1 other catch for a total of 55 yards.
So the St. Mary's Rough Riders rallying in the second quarter and putting together an impressive drive to end the half. They'll get the ball back to start the second half, so that gives them an opportunity to even things up. Paul, it's halftime, and as one of the 3 S's of our halftime show, we've already done the scoring summary. We've done the stats. Now it's time to step into Sadler Schoolhouse. I have my notebook all ready. Drop the knowledge.
Well, what we're going to do, look at this time, we're going to examine that pitch play. Right now, they got the Rough Riders actually outflanked already. They've got an extra player out there in Vandenheuvel, and let's watch how the line block works on this. Left tackle Mabry is actually going to block down, and then Beckman's going to pull around him, but then they're also going to, if you guys want to go ahead and start moving it, Vandenheuvel's also going to block down, then Sean Rose is going to pull around him. What that does is it creates 2 full block actions and sets the edge. There you can see now that Marks can outrun a couple Rough Riders, but then it's the block downfield by Sean Rose that gives him the seam enough that he needs for that touchdown. So that pitch play has been very effective for the Celina Bulldogs, and what they're doing is they're starting off right by getting their numbers right and then working the angles.
That play has also set up a couple of opportunities for Caleb Hoying, Paul, because they've worked off that same action to give Hoying opportunities to run.
Yeah, a lot of successful plays in football always have some sort of good counter action to it.
Well, we're still at halftime here. The Bulldogs with the lead, 21-14, but the Rough Riders will have the ball when we come back. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Hello?
Call dropped?
Hello?
No more minutes? Lost your phone? Don't worry. Telephone service from TSC is always crystal clear. Never runs out of minutes. Never has a dead battery. And most importantly, in an emergency, it displays your address for 911. Plus, TSC keeps you connected with free calling in our expanded calling area. Ask about telephone service from TSC today.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Owen Kitchen and Bath Showroom has been family owned and operated since 1990. We can help you from start to finish with your entire project. Let one of our professional designers put the final touches on your project. Owen Kitchen and Bath now has 2 showrooms to better serve you in Wapakoneta and Lima. Owen Kitchen and Bath, cabinetry that will take your breath away at prices that won't.
Back here for the start of the second half in Celina Stadium, and the Rough Riders will get the ball to start the second half. Paul, they came alive late in the second quarter. We talked about tempo. We talked about the difference in what that does for the St. Mary's offense. What does Celina's defense need to do to slow down St. Mary's at the start of this third quarter?
Well, they just need to regroup a little bit. Obviously, they were kind of taken by surprise by that last-minute drive. I mean, there's some anxious moments here in the St. Mary's stands that St. Mary's didn't call a timeout before that previous touchdown. That wasn't complete. There would have been 5 seconds left.
Spicer will field this one at the 5, back across the 10, and he's going to be knocked down at the 20-yard line. So that's where St. Mary's will start their next possession. They did not have a lot of opportunities early in the ball game, as they started out with poor field position, but they'll start at the 20 here.
Yeah, they had a poor field position, though, to end that second quarter and went 97 yards for a touchdown. Right. So as long as you continue to get positive plays, which this offense is really built for, that might be overrated.
First down and 10, and it'll be Spicer off the right side, gets a couple on first down. So a second down and 8 now coming up for the Rough Riders as they look to build on the momentum they put together late in the second quarter. Hoying will bring him to the line of scrimmage. Here is Fisher, and he's going to be stacked up at the line of scrimmage, no gain. So a third down and 8 now coming up for St. Mary's, as no gain on that last play puts them in a third down and long situation. And Paul, that's not an area where they thrive.
No, this offense is built for positive plays to set up third and short, not really meant to execute a lot on third and 8.
They are 1 out of 3 on third downs. They will come to the line of scrimmage with a receiver to each side. Howe will roll out to the left, fires it back over to the near side, and it's incomplete. Look at Mays, and a fourth down and 8 coming up.
So actually a fairly well-designed play. They were bringing Mays from the other side and was going to try to throw a little flare pass to him. Just wasn't executed very well. So this drive started off similar to how their first three drives of the game started off with a 3 and out.
So Patton, who has kind of gotten used to kicking from deep in his own territory, will boot this one away from the 7-yard line, gets the foot into it, and so with kick returns. This time a Rich Cole and Stolly, and the Bulldogs will start it.
Yeah, really smart decision right there by Stolly to ensure the catch, and you're still going to have excellent field position for the Celina Bulldogs. So Celina took a couple major shots by the Rough Riders, but at least the beginning of this second half is more around their liking.
So Celina with 26 plays in the first half for 178 yards as they come to the line of scrimmage here. And a part of the reason that they don't have a big pile of yards stacked up through that first half was that they started so many possessions on the St. Mary's side of the field. This one will go through the hands of Hoying, and over his head, he'll be covering it up at the 33-yard line. So that will dig into your field position a little bit.
Yeah, we mentioned as one of the keys to the game, don't hurt yourselves for Celina, and they've been excellent at not hurting themselves with limiting turnovers and penalties. While that's not a turnover, that is a big chunk of yardage that is lost. About a 16-yard loss on that snap over the head of Caleb Hoying.
All right. So that will bring up a second down and 26. You got to go deep into the playbook to find something there. 4 receivers set. St. Mary's showing blitz here on second down. They back off as Hoying steps up with time. He will tuck it and run it himself, and he's going to get maybe a yard on the play, not much there.
Yeah, that time the Rough Riders opted to play just more coverage that time and didn't blitz Hoying. And when he saw that no one was going to be open, so he tried to get what he could get. But on 2nd and 26, a 4-yard gain doesn't put much of a dent into it.
Now, Hoying is an efficient passer. He's good for about 814 yards coming into tonight's ball game. 8 touchdown passes, only 2 interceptions on the year. And both of those interceptions coming in last week's game. So a 3rd down and 22 now. They fake the pitch and Hoying fires it over the middle. It goes off the hands of his intended receiver, Vondenheuvel, and incomplete. And really, Paul, that would have been right at about midfield.
Right about midfield, which would make a difference in field position, but still would have been about 10 yards short of the 1st down. So that promising field position was derailed by an error on the snap on the 1st down of the drive.
2 possessions, the first possession for each team. 2 teams here will trade punts. Hoying has a pretty good foot. He will stand at about the 24-yard line to kick this one away. And he puts the hoof into a drive kick that will sail back inside the 10-yard line where it's scooped up by Mays. He brings it back to the 15, back to the 20, to the 25, and he's upended. He'll land at about the 27-yard line.
And nice play there by Celina to be able to prevent that from being a big play, because Logan Mays does have the ability to take that all the way, as he does have a kickoff return for a touchdown earlier this year against Sydney, but also a danger on punt returns.
Here's the handoff straight up the middle, and Spicer will get to the 30-yard line and not much more.
And a straight dive play, a staple of the wing T, trying to get your halfback running as fast as they can to hit a hole. The whole idea behind that is just to get enough of a movement and a mush by your offensive line to get some positive yardage.
2nd down and 7 coming up now. Howell will hand it off to Fisher going up the middle, and he gets a couple up to the 32-yard line. So a 3rd down and 5 coming up for St. Mary's.
Yeah, Fisher actually kind of stumbles upon Aaron Alexander, hits the hole just almost a little bit too quickly on that time, and that prevented that from going any further. So once again, a 3rd and a little bit longer than Coach Fry would probably like with a 3rd and 6.
Yeah, they actually spot that one at the 31-yard line. The pitch goes to Fisher coming to the near side. He shakes off one tackler, then dives forward across the 35 up to the 36-yard line, which will be a couple yards short of a 1st down.
Yeah, I believe that they're short. The official originally kind of blew this dead, but yeah, now they're going to wind it up, and it's not even going to be worth a measurement. It's going to be 4th and about 1. Coach Fry talking to his quarterback, Dustin Howe, and sending him out there again. Coach Fry, definitely one of the more aggressive coaches in the Western Buckeye League. Looking to roll the dice here.
They will roll it from their own 36-yard line. 3 backs behind Howell under center, and it'll be Howell to keep it himself. He gets more than enough for the 1st down across the 40 to the 42-yard line.
And I tell you what that does, it not only moves the chains, but also just seeing your coach having that confidence in you as an offense just fires you up. The crowd here for St. Mary's and the sidelines are on their feet as the Rough Riders drive continues.
Handoff Spicer coming to the near side. He's going to be hit as he gets across the 40 up to the 44-yard line. A gain of 2 on the play.
And Stolle knifes in there and makes the play on Spicer on what looked like to be a promising play otherwise.
2nd down and 8 now. 7 minutes to play 3rd quarter. Howell under center with Fisher and Spicer behind him. It'll be Spicer to the left side, and he's going to be hit for a loss here. Back to the 43-yard line.
And then definitely you'd have to give Celina the advantage of winning the point of attack on that play. There's definitely more green winning their battles up front on that play. And for the 3rd time this quarter already, St. Mary's has a 3rd and long.
And they are 1 out of 5 on 3rd down conversions. And on a 3rd and 9, the odds stacked against them here. Howell is back to pass. Lobs it left side to Spicer. He's got room down the left side. Inside the 40, still on his feet at the 30. Finds some space to the middle of the field, still on his feet. He will go to the house.
A 57-yard touchdown for Eric Spicer. Dustin Howell hooks up with Spicer for the second time this game. There is a flag down in the back. We'll see what that is. Oh, it's going to come back. They got a block below the waist call. The flag is at the 39-yard line of the Celina Bulldogs, and that's going to wipe out an impressive-looking play. And one thing, the screen passes have been very, very good against the Celina Bulldog team.
Right.
So we've seen that before.
Boy, and Spicer just showing his ability to stay on his feet.
So we're going to get a replay here, which, by the way, because it was taken downfield here, we can see the replay. We called it on 72. Might have been a block in the back. I don't know. But anyway, because it was downfield, it's a spot foul. Instead of the 3rd and 9, it's still not a first down, but it's a 3rd and 2 instead.
So the ball will be at midfield. Howell will be under center. They pitch it to Fisher going left side. He bounces off one tackle and stays on his feet, picking up the first down to the 43-yard line.
Okay.
So it's not the home run that they had on the last play, but it's to keep the drive going.
And a chain mover continues the momentum for the Rough Riders, who just have to kind of lick their wounds of getting that apparent possible game-tying touchdown taken off and have to continue their march. And on Celina, it's a bullet dodge, but at some point they're going to have to dig in and get a stop.
They spotted at the 44-yard line, first down and 10, and it'll be right up the middle to the 40-yard line for Spicer. A gain of 4 on first down and another flag.
Well, this one appears it's going to go against the Celina defense. Coach Temple going out there trying to get some answers and some encouragement to his defense. There's going to be a 5-yard face mask.
So that will move it into a second down and 1 situation.
Well, actually, it should be a repeat of first.
And now you see the officials.
It's going to be a first and 1.
So it is a first down. And right up the middle. And hard to see where they spot that one, but it looks like he should have the first down.
Yeah, enough to be able to move the chains, but not very often you see a first and 1. I can guarantee that's a situation in the middle of the field you don't practice very much.
That's true. The playbook pretty wide open though on a first and 1.
Yeah, you pretty much run whatever you want.
Right. They went conservative there. First and 10 now, ball at the 33-yard line on the Celina side. It'll be Fisher going to the right side and a gain of a couple. Off the right, down to the 31-yard line.
So nice play there by 65. Unfortunately, he's not in our roster. But he's made 2 different plays there for Celina, helping out on that defensive line.
Second down and 8 now. Howell under center. It'll be Spicer to the right side, inside the 25 to the 20. Cuts it to the outside and into the end zone, touchdown. So Spicer had his first touchdown called back on a penalty. He would not be denied on this one.
So instead of getting a second touchdown of the game through the air, this time he gets a second one on the ground. His third one total. A nice inside-out move with Randy Sly providing the blocking downfield. As we can see right here, running off the right-hand side. Hopefully you can see Slife right there with a nice block. Again, he ducks inside and goes to the outside to hit the scoreboard, and this field goal, or this extra point, can tie the ball game. So a 21-point deficit is overcome.
Tie ball game here in the third quarter. And we have a good one brewing here in Celina. High school football for you on Game Face Ohio.
TV everywhere.
TV everywhere?
That's right, everywhere. You can watch TV from your tablet, your phone, your laptop, any mobile device, anywhere you want.
Laundromat?
Yes.
Grocery store?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
What if I wanted to watch TV at home?
All your favorite networks all the time. It's TV everywhere from TSC.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
For over 100 years, the Stolly Insurance Team has been looking out for you.
We have access to major insurance companies all over the country. But together, we can customize an insurance program that will offer you the best coverage for the best premiums.
Let us look out for you. Give us a call for a personalized proposal today.
Proudly featuring Motorist Insurance, Stolly Insurance in Lima, Walpock, Celina, and Lakeview. Representing Motorist Insurance Group and other fine insurance companies. Stolly Insurance.
Well, 4:56 remaining here in the third quarter, and we are back to even at 21. And a 3-touchdown deficit overcome by St. Mary's, as Celina has not scored since early in the second quarter. Here is Stolly bringing it up the middle of the field, up the left side of the field to the 39-yard line. So Celina will get the ball back following the touchdown by Spicer.
And some people would say, who would have thunk it when they were down 21-0, but if you've been seeing this Rough Rider team all year long, you're not surprised. We've seen them overcome 14-point deficit against Sydney, a 20-point deficit to Van Wert, a 17-point deficit to Kenton, all to win those games. This one game is far from over, but they were down 21 points in the second quarter of this, and as you mentioned, we're back to even, and Celina has to prove that they can answer.
They have not done a lot offensively on their last few possessions. Here is Marks. He breaks a tackle. He's across midfield. Gets across the 40, still on his feet, and he's finally knocked down as he gets to the 27.
And that's just the play that they need. They had a nice hole open on that left-hand side. Then Marks was able to break a tackle right here, as you can see, able to get away from there from Matt Patton and able to pick up big yardage into Rough Rider territory.
And Marks slow to get up after that run, and it looks like maybe he cramps as he's grabbing onto his toes there. And he is quick to get up, so hopefully he's all right. Second big run of the night for Marks. He had one of 35 yards earlier that set up a score. He'll come off the field here after a nice kind of the 26-yard line.
Yeah, Marks doing an excellent job at the running back position with Ryan Harder not being available for the Bulldogs. So they're going to go to their third option at running back. We'll see if they continue to run the ball with success as they've been, or if they'll start to count on the arm of their talented quarterback.
Well, they'll break the huddle with just 12 seconds left on the game, or the play clock rather. And Hoying avoids some pressure, fires it into the ground, and there's a flag. Hoying pointing toward a receiver, but it looks like intentional grounding right now.
I believe that's what they're going to call. We'll see if they talk it over and stay with it. It was in the general area. Obviously, there's not an attempt to try to complete the pass right there, but they are going to call intentional grounding. Obviously, trying to avoid the sack at all costs. And you know what? The closest person to that ball was actually C.J. Kimmel, as opposed to an actual receiver. He did have 33 out there, who's running back in there again. Once again, not in our roster that was supplied to us.
That was Chase Stevens.
Chase Stevens? Apparently they give the play-by-play guy a different roster than the color guy.
You have to ask for each number specifically. And Mark's back in there, and the draw play goes for not much up the middle.
And that's a sophomore, Reed Aller, making a play, getting a start on the defensive line. And similar to the first drive of the second quarter where they had promising field position, but they snapped it over the head. This time they hurt themselves on first down with the intentional grounding.
So third down and 21, ball at the 37-yard line. They put Keeling in motion across the backfield to the near side, and Hoying with time fires it deep to the right side and will be overthrown He was looking to connect on the far sideline there, but
yeah, that was a Stolly, but Tester had good coverage on him, and just he wasn't going to be open with that. So that brings up a 4th and 21. You're in a weird place of the field. It looks like they're going to go for it, even though it's 4th and a lot. But again, just the idea of punting this situation, you're not going to gain potentially a lot.
Right.
But you can see the Rough Riders really backing up. You got Slife and Howe really backing up, although this could be a quick kick again.
Yeah, going into that position, and he's going to kick it toward the corner, and that's actually going to go into the end zone for a touchback.
So really close to being able to get it inside the 5 once again, but instead it'll go to the 20-yard line, so a net of 17 yards on that change of possession for the Celina Bulldogs.
Well, and really, Paul, it hasn't mattered too much where they put the ball for St. Mary's. They haven't been able to stop them offensively.
Well, it's been feast or famine. It's either been a touchdown or a 3 and out so far for the Rough Riders.
Right. Well, they've put together 2 good drives back to back. And they were able to overcome a big penalty on that last possession. They start now at their own 20-yard line, and here is Spicer again. Spins out of a tackle. Well, nearly got away from that one at the 28-yard line. He'll get up to the 30, and it should be enough for a Rough Rider first down.
Well, we see some papers flying out of the press box. We don't know if that's a frustrated coach or going to be a disappointed press member losing some of their game notes.
Well, if they come down here asking for your roster, don't give it to them.
Well, don't give them yours.
Yeah, mine has all the players. It'll be Fisher off the right side. He picks up a couple.
And kind of a misassignment right there. Mabry totally unblocked right there, able to make the play on Fisher.
So to bring up a 2nd down and 7. And Celina really searching for answers now defensively. They had this Rough Rider offense on lockdown through the first quarter and a half. Since then, they haven't been able to slow them down at all.
We know this offense is meant to kind of wear you down, and it's not always going to be big gashes of gains, but the idea is we're going to keep firing off the ball. We're going to run the ball 90+% of the time, and we're going to wear you out, and then eventually we got some home run hitters that can make big plays.
Well, the ball is just across the 34-yard line.
And Coach Fry kind of keeps some fresh guys in there as well. We have Grant Keith in the backfield now.
First time we've seen him in the backfield. Howell is back to pass. Sets up the screen to Spicer. He does a good job just to stay on his feet. He's down the near sideline to the 45, and he'll be knocked down as he gets to the 39. And Paul, you said it before, the screen pass has been a terror for this Celina defense.
Yeah, but I tell you what an athletic catch by Eric Spicer. He was off balance, running some play action off the screen, but watch him back out, almost fall down, regain his feet right before he goes out of bounds, and then just makes a beeline straight down the field.
25 yards on that connection. Here he is again, off the right side, inside the 35 to the 34-yard line.
So let's give credit to Howell as well. Now 5 for 6 on the game passing. Not asked to pass the ball a lot, but when he does, he has been very accurate.
And they haven't all been screen passes, Paul. He made a long connection for 32 yards to Spicer, a ball that was placed perfectly. 2nd down and 4 now. And straight up the middle of the field, down to the 25-yard line. And good enough for another St. Mary's first down.
And the Rough Riders, you know, they wanted to get back to Rough Rider football. Only 68 yards rushing last week after putting up 425 against Elida 2 weeks ago. Up over the 220-yard mark for this game already.
Ball at the 24-yard line, 1st down and 10. Less than a minute to play here, 3rd quarter. And the Rough Riders threatening to take their first lead of the game. And a whistle and a timeout going to be taken by Celina. Just 46 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter in a tie ball game here in Celina. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Strength is about so much more than the body. It's about being together, serving, sharing, and caring for those around us. It's about keeping score in the heart rather than on a scoreboard. Be a part of a community that builds more than your body. At the Wapakoneta Family YMCA.
Tie ball game here in Celina. The Rough Riders rallying from a 21 to nothing deficit. Tying things up, and now Paul threatening to take the lead.
And it's mostly on the legs of Eric Spicer. Up over 150 yards individually running the ball. Also has a lot of yardage receiving as well.
57 through the air. He lines up with Fisher in the backfield. Howell will keep it himself. And he fights his way down to the 20-yard line before finally being knocked down. Good effort by Howell.
You know you're feeling really good about what you're doing and controlling the line of scrimmage when you call a quarterback sneak on first down.
And it wasn't a first down and one.
Right.
So it'll go for 4 yards and sets up a second down and 6.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is just a soft spot right there, and Coach Fry is definitely the type of coach that will continue to do something once he sees it to exploit it until you do something to adjust to stop it.
Snaps off another 3 yards, and that'll be the final play of the third quarter. Well, we are set up for an exciting fourth quarter of play here in Celina. Rough Riders and Bulldogs tied at 21. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
TSC can save you money.
How?
TSC can save you money with Emerge.
What's Emerge?
The Emerge bundle plan. TSC will merge your phone, cable TV, and internet into one nice, neat package to save you money.
How much money?
A boatload. The Emerge bundle plan only from TSC.
TSC, give us a call and see. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
At Minster Bank, we understand that life can get hectic. That's why when it comes to your banking, we offer the services that make your life simpler with tools like person-to-person payments, Pop Money, mobile and online banking, and bill pay. But most of all, Minster Bank is a supportive member of your community with personal relationships and customer service that reach outside of our branches. Minster Bank, helping people achieve financial success.
Here we have a good look there of Coach Doug Fry, who is 1 win away from his 100th win as a St. Mary's coach. Wasn't looking very promising when it was a 21-point deficit earlier, but now the Rough Riders are threatening to take the lead for the first time.
Third down and 3 at the Celina 17-yard line, and Spicer takes it to the right side. He's hit in the backfield, and he'll be stopped short of the first down. It'll be a fourth down coming up.
And a no-brainer call right here for Coach Fry, whose team has already converted a fourth down this half already.
They are 1 for 1 fourth downs.
You know, see Celina make an adjustment, really strong up the middle right now.
Pitch to Fisher, and he'll go left side. A flag comes down as he gets inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. It'll be close, Paul.
But there's going to be a hold call, and that's going to take any decision away. I think he just would have had enough for the first down. And obviously it's going to have to be enough, otherwise they would just decline the penalty. So they're going to march this off. A big 10-yard penalty on 4th and 1 is going to negate the conversion. But given the field position, Coach Fry definitely is going to probably continue to go for it here, even though it's 4th and 11.
So the ball will be back to the 25-yard line.
And
Just underway here in the fourth quarter.
And if I was Coach Temple, I would be very cautious about St. Mary's running a screen pass.
Yeah. Might want to look for that one. Howell will work out of the shotgun. Two receivers to his right, one to the left. He has Spicer in the backfield with him. He fires it out right side, and it's incomplete. Intended for Tester, and a flag comes down over on the far sideline well after the play.
It'll be interesting to see what this call is. It was after the play, so it should be a post-possession, I would think, unless he just threw the flag late.
Well, you saw Tester kind of limp it a little bit toward the end of that play. I don't know if there was some contact over there on the far side or not.
It's a dead ball, personal foul. It's going to be on St. Mary's.
Oh.
So not only do they fail to convert on the fourth down after one penalty negated the conversion, they're now going to give up 15 additional yards and penalties. Again, that mentioned coming in, the Rough Riders, actually one of the more penalized teams in the Western Buckeye League.
And we'll get another look at it here.
They're going to call Tester there for kind of pushing after the play. You know, a little nickel dimer there. You know, I guess you don't want emotions to escalate, but I've seen that play let go before too.
Right. Well, Celina will try and take advantage of the field position they have here as they start at their own 40-yard line. And a pitch play to Marks, which has been successful for them tonight, goes for a couple of yards off the left side.
But that was still a little bit better adjustment by the Rough Riders. They had some more outside force coming up right away, forcing the cutback, and then there's some pursuit there that's being unblocked in that play. So they were able to hold that to be a more modest 2 to 3 yard gain.
Second down and 7 now. And Horning's going to take a timeout. That's Celina's second timeout already here in the half, and there's still over 10 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. We'll take a timeout as well. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Where is that TSC bill? How can I pay it if I can't find it?
You don't need the bill. You can pay it online at telcirco.com.
Wasn't there a special this month?
Yes, we got it from TSC's Facebook page.
I know I've got the announcement for the club here somewhere.
I just sent it to TSC to air on Channel 2. With telcirco.com, Facebook, Channel 2, and their newsletter, TSC makes it easy to stay connected.
Now, if they could just help me clean up my desk.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
We are state of the art.
We are professional.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have a great day. We are service you can trust.
We are here for you.
With custom fabrication, a variety of roofing options, and exceptional roofing knowledge and expertise, Frost Roofing is committed to providing top-notch quality service on every project. To learn more, visit us online at frost-roofing.com and follow us on social media.
Coming out of the timeout, Celina with the ball, and the pitch goes around the right side, and it'll be a couple of yards short of the first down after the run by Justin Keeling.
And Justin Keeling's been kind of quiet this week. He actually had 4 catches and a touchdown last week. First time he's gotten the ball in his hands this game. This time on kind of a different look on a little pitch to him.
And now a 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Bulldogs. They are 3 out of 7 on 3rd down so far tonight. They put Keeling in motion across the backfield again. And it'll be Marks up the middle. He's not going to get there. He may have gotten a yard.
Yeah, big push there by the Rough Riders. A lot of guys there. Giesecke, but really Aller and Chisholm really led the push there for the Rough Riders defensive line.
And Paul, all night it seems like the interior of the line has been the territory of the Rough Riders. Celina's had their success to the outside.
And that's, again, opposite how it was last week. Last week they couldn't get anything to the outside but had some success to the inside. So sometimes you have to adjust what's working for you from game to game.
Well, Celina's going to be forced to punt it away again. And Hoying will kick it away from his own 40-yard line. Line drive will be fielded by Mays at about the 10-yard line. He brings it back to the near side of the 20, and he's knocked off his feet at the 22. Well, the United Way of Auglaize County wants to remind you that great things happen when we live united. And so when you're filling out this year's pledge card, make sure you give where you live and designate Auglaize County. So Howell will bring the offense back out onto the field for the Rough Riders. They were forced into a fourth down that they weren't able to complete on their last possession, but mostly what slowed them down was penalties on their last drive as Spicer takes it up the middle for a couple.
Yeah, the 4th and 1 conversion actually was wiped out by a holding call, and then the 15-yard penalty after they already were stopped ended up being somewhat inconsequential, although it did still probably have some residual effects here with the field position that the Rough Riders have right now.
With that carry out to the 24-yard line, 2nd down and 8 now coming up for the Rough Riders. And again, they have inserted Grant Keith into the backfield. But Spicer with the carry up across the 25 to the 26. So a couple more there. And a 3rd down and 6 coming up.
And Spicer going back to that fullback position, running the trap. Not as much positive as they would have liked with the 3rd and 6. Be interesting to see if Coach Fry continues to elect to keep the ball on the ground.
Tester will check into the ball game for the Rough Riders. He lines up wide to the right. Keith, and it will be Spicer in the backfield, and Spicer off the right side for a short gain. And 3 quick plays, and St. Mary's going to be forced to punt here.
Well, that's exactly what Celina needed. After kind of a disappointing start here offensively for them, where they have not scored since early in the 2nd quarter, they do have the ability to swing field position back into their favor after getting a 3 and out and the potential of a decent return here.
Patton's going to kick it away from his own 15-yard line. Stolle is back to receive. Good kick. Stolle will field it at about the 38. Takes it to the far side of the field. And he will cut it up at the 40, but another flag comes down on the kick return. Actually, multiple flags in that area, and it looks like another block in the back against Celina.
Yeah, C.J. Kimmel with a terrific collision. Unfortunately, is going to be in the back, so that's going to cost them field position. And in the special teams, there's such a swing in yardage and field position. And not only are you going to get 10 yards where the spot was, you're also eliminate any type of return that was added to it. So it's not even just a 10-yard penalty. You know, it's going to be closer to losing about 25 yards of field position.
Right.
So we can see right here, again, a pretty obvious block in the back. You know, you just got to have to hold off. If he makes the play there, you're still around the 50-yard line. You know, now instead you're going to start the ball at about the 32-yard line.
The Bulldogs got a little bit of momentum going on their last possession, but unable to convert on a 3rd down and 2. Hoying struggles to hold on to that ball, able to scoop it up and get up to the 35-yard line. That could have been disaster for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, he kind of rescues what, as you mentioned, could have been a disaster, and they've done that a couple times on 1st down to start drives. They had one that got snapped over their heads. There's a good look at head coach Trent Temple. And then they also had that intentional grounding on a 1st down. It wasn't their first play of the drive, but still was a 1st down that got them behind the chains.
So a 2nd down and 7 now. The pitch to Marks. He comes to the near side, and he's going to get up to the 40-yard line. They'll still need 3 more for the 1st down.
Oh, the pitch running it to the right this time, and when they do that, it's almost a pass. You know, we have to kind of see that to make sure. But I almost want to say that the ball's going forward to get him out there just that much quicker.
Will actually be just 2 yards. 3rd down and 2.
And Celina only 3 for 8 on 3rd down.
Here's the pitch to Marks. And this time he is able to fight his way forward for the 1st down. And that's the first down that Celina's had in quite a while. So a first down for Celina as they move closer to midfield. They'll have the ball at their own 43-yard line. 2 receivers wide to the right, 1 to the far side left. Keeling in motion across the backfield, and Hoying back to pass, sets up a screen pass. Cross midfield and diving for the first down, and I believe that was Stolle on the receiving end.
No, actually.
Vondenheuvel.
Yeah, Vondenheuvel, and I tell you what, that was an athletic catch. Celina saying, hey, you can run screen passes, so can we. They faked the screen pass to the left and ran the middle screen to Vondenheuvel. As you can see, a pretty athletic coming out of some traffic to be able to make that play and pick up a first down.
11 yards in a connection with Vondenheuvel. 4 receivers set now on first down as they put Keeling in motion again. Hoying back to pass with all kinds of time. Lobs it deep down the center of the field, trying to connect with Stolle, and nearly picked off by Spicer. It goes off his hands.
And Hoying would like that pass back. He actually had Stolle on the traditional post pattern if he would have led him. Instead, he threw it behind him, more up the field than leading him. And that was where the defender was. So kind of a missed opportunity going for the home run for Celina.
Boy, and Spicer very nearly picked that ball off. You can see him getting into position.
Yeah, it was right in the arms.
Yep.
For someone who's made as big plays as that, you know, his screen pass was probably a tougher catch that he caught.
Right. Boying lobs it out to Marks, who is knocked off his feet after that one goes off his hands, incomplete.
Yeah, and Fisher was right there. If he would have caught it, probably better that he didn't, because Fisher was going to be there. That would have been a loss on that particular play.
So now just like that, it's a 3rd down and 10.
We have Guarneri Pizza, downtown St. Mary's. Always doing a great job hooking up the staff with great pizza.
And we'd like to send a thank you out to our pizza sponsor. 2 receivers to each side now on a 3rd down and 10. Hoying is going to tuck it and run to the far side, and he's going to be stopped after a gain of a yard, but a flag comes down on the far sideline.
We don't have a great look at it, but St. Mary's doesn't appear to be happy with the penalty, but Patton was right there to just totally stuff Hoying after a short gain. But there's a flag down, and it appears to be going against St. Mary's. We'll have to see on the replay.
Almost
maybe
has
there
to
was
be like a face mask or something.
Yeah, some contact with the head of some sort. But that's going to be a big chance. So that'll be a first down as opposed to it's going to be a 4th and 8.
Well,
and here's the replay.
Sideline is fired up.
Oh, they're going to have to call him leading kind of with the crown of the helmet.
Some head-to-head contact there.
You see he puts his head down and then he hits the crown. You know, I'm not sure, you know, what the ruling is there in high school. Even in the pros, once you're a ball carrier, I think you're allowed to do that kind of contact. But regardless, you know.
Another flag comes down here as there was all kinds of pressure on Hoying, and this flag is going to go against Celina.
And we knew this was going to be an intense battle. We didn't know it was going to start 21-0, then another 21-0 run to tie it up. But we are not surprised that it's going down to the last 4 minutes of the tie ball game in this tremendous rivalry between the Celina Bulldogs and St. Mary's Rough Riders.
With the penalty, the ball is going to go all the way out to the 41-yard line. First down and 22 coming up. Bulldogs.
If you can see the play right there with the hold on Chisholm.
2 receivers to each side. And Hoying back to pass. Left side, caught, and down inside the 35 to the 32-yard line. And still a ways to go.
Yeah, but
reception by Stolle.
But I like that play call because especially considering the situation in the field position, there's a good chance you're going to go for it on 4th down anyway. Nothing wrong with trying to get to 8-10 yards like they just right there. So from considering where you were, 2nd and 13 is in pretty good shape.
They will put 3 receivers to the left, Keeling the only wideout on the near side of the field. And Hoying looking left, steps up. Now he's going to take it himself. He goes up the middle, and he gets a couple of yards. Well, make it about 5, down inside. It'll be 3rd down and 9 coming up.
Again, coming into this game, the St. Mary's defense is actually ranked 8th against the pass in the Western Buckeye League out of 10 teams. However, their coverage has been excellent, as more often than not, Hoying doesn't see anybody open, and he has to just tuck the ball and try to get a short gain instead.
So with this 3:05 remaining here in the ball game, Celina will come to the line of scrimmage with 4 receivers. They put a man in motion across the backfield. That's Stolle. Hoying steps up. He's going to run it himself. He's inside the 10, down to the 5, and battles his way down to the 4-yard line.
Well, that time St. Mary's came with a blitz, and when Hoying saw that blitz, he ran right to that vacated area, and there was nobody there to be able to stop him that time, and now the Bulldogs are in prime position to potentially retake the lead.
1st and goal. They'll spot the ball at the 3-yard line. 25 yards on the carry by Caleb Hoying.
So excellent job by Celina after that penalty, put them in 1st and 25 to be able to pick that up.
2 receivers to each side for Hoying on a 1st down and goal. Taking his time, looking over the field. Play clock down to 13 seconds. As Celina trying to use some clock here, and Hoying will keep it himself left side. He's going to get down to the 1.
Yeah, this is where you start to kind of play a little bit of trickiness. You know, you want to score because you want to be able to take the lead, but you want to take your time about it because you want to leave the Rough Riders with as little time as possible, and they have shown the ability to be able to score at the end of halves with not much time left. So, you know, that's something that they're thinking about. But the first goal, they need to score.
Well, they should be able to get it down close to 1.5 minutes by the time this play is over. 11th play of the drive coming up here. Same formation. 2nd and goal. Hoying will keep it himself. And no indication yet from the officials. He only had a yard to go. And he's going to be short. 3rd down coming up.
But the Rough Riders are going to call a timeout here, because even if he does get in at some point, they need to conserve that clock.
So a timeout going to be taken by the Rough Riders with 1:22 left in this game. Tied at 21. Celina opened this game up with 21 quick points before the Rough Riders even got started. But it's been the Rough Riders since, and now Celina threatening to take the lead again.
And we can see this play right here to see how close he did indeed get. Kind of gets lost in the shuffle right there in the mess. I don't have a clean view on him, but the officials said that he was short, and that's what he is.
Well, the official on this sideline had the same view as our cameraman, So Paul, you've tried Hoying up the middle twice. It's 3rd and goal now. Do you give him another crack at it?
I would. He's their biggest body. Quite frankly, I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. I like putting him up under center and just not giving the defense that much more time to be able to react.
Well, we'll see what the Bulldogs and Coach Trent Temple decide to do here on a 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Same formation again as they have run on the first 2 plays, and a flag comes down on the far sideline, and it's going to go against St. Mary's, it looks like.
Yeah, but you know what? That's not going to be a big penalty. I mean, that might be a 6-inch penalty. That's not going to really make the difference in terms of the execution of the play.
So it was encroachment against St. Mary's. So as you mentioned, about 6 inches. They're going to get the ruler out to move this one closer to the goal line. And it'll be 3rd and goal again.
Hey, look how close that is. Great camera shot.
Yep. Hoying again out of the shotgun. 3rd and goal. Snap, it'll be Hoying again. And this time, still no indication from the officials. The Bulldogs are saying touchdown, but no indication yet. And now they do call it a touchdown.
Now we're doing the far side. So the Rough Riders kind of valiant trying to keep him out of there, but to no avail. the Bulldogs retake the lead, scoring for the first time in a long time since the beginning of the second quarter.
Right.
Doug Fry talking to the officials, wanting to get some more time put on the clock.
Well, that touchdown call took quite a while to be decided. So the officials will gather at the goal line there to discuss things again. Celina getting into the end zone for the first time since the 8:01 mark in the second quarter.
So see, I believe Coach Fry is getting some results. The official is looking to talk to the scoreboard operator, see if there's some time going to be put back on.
They're going to add 3 seconds back onto the clock, so it'll be 1:21 left in this game.
And you got to remember, the Rough Riders scored with 5 seconds left to go in the first half,
Sure.
so you know every second can count.
Merlin to attempt the extra point. The kick is up, and it hits the trees. So with 1:21 left in this game, Celina retakes the lead 28-21. You are watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
Hello? Call dropped? Hello? No more minutes? Lost your phone? Don't worry. Telephone service from TSC is always crystal clear. Never runs out of minutes. Never has a dead battery. And most importantly, in an emergency, it displays your address for 911. Plus, TSC keeps you connected with free calling in our expanded calling area. Ask about telephone service from TSC today.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Owen Kitchen and Bath Showroom has been family owned and operated since 1990. We can help you from start to finish with your entire project. Let one of our professional designers put the final touches on your project. Owen Kitchen and Bath now has 2 showrooms to better serve you in Wapakoneta and Lima. Owen Kitchen and Bath, cabinetry that will take your breath away at prices that won't.
Well, Paul, this is a big matchup as far as in regard to the standings of the Western Buckeye League. So let's take a look at the standings coming into tonight's ball game.
Well, normally this rivalry you could say throw the records out, but in this case you don't want to throw the records out at all because these 2 teams are tied for second, and the winner of this game is going to still be in contention for the Western Buckeye League title. However, you know, both of these teams still have playoff aspirations as well.
Well, the Celina Bulldogs put together a 12-play, 68-yard drive that covered nearly 6 minutes and ended with a 1-yard run by Hoyne. Now the Rough Riders on the return, back up to about the 24-yard line on the return by Tester. They have 1 minute and 17 seconds to work with here. And remember, at the end of the first half, they went 97 yards in 1 minute and 41 seconds.
And there's not a lot of time left. However, I wouldn't be surprised Coach Fry to really do anything. You know, they may run the shotgun with Howell, but you got to keep an eye on number 7 and Spicer because they find a variety of different ways to get the ball in his hands, running the ball and passing the ball.
He is on the left hip of Howell out of the shotgun. 2 receivers, one to the right and one to the left, and firing it out here and in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Randy Slife, incomplete at the 32-yard line.
And nice coverage put on there by Justin Keeling for Celina. Ball was right there. Slife, I'm sure, would like to get that one back.
It would have been about an 8-yard pickup had Slife been able to haul that one in. Drew Jacobs checks into the ballgame. He's the lone wideout on the near side of the field. Howell is back to pass. Lobs it deep down the near sideline, intended for Jacobs and incomplete. Keeling getting in position there nearly to take that one away.
Yeah, stride for stride with Jacobs right there was Keeling. Excellent coverage for Celina. So they've answered the bells on the first 2 plays of this drive.
And now for St. Mary's, they're in a 3rd down and 10 situation. 1 minute and 5 left in this one, the ball at their own 24-yard line.
And a lot of these times, these drives, that first down that you get kind of sets the tone. If you get it, you start to build some momentum, but sometimes getting that first one is tough.
Slife back into the ball game as the lone wideout on the near side. Howell fires it out to Spicer on the near side. Caught out of the screen. He gets to the 20, to the 30, and he'll go out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Short of the first down. And fourth down and a couple coming up.
When in doubt, run the screen. It was there once again. The Rough Riders had him outmanned right there, but Dylan Hoying, using the sideline as an extra defender, is able to funnel out Spicer. And the game comes down to this play.
A 4th and 2, 57 seconds left in the game. Hoying out of the shotgun with Spicer back there with him. He has time, fires it over the middle. It's caught by the tight end. Up across the 35 to the 40. He picks up the first down to the 45-yard line. Nice catch.
Nate Gross.
Nate Gross. Yep, first time we've called his name tonight.
Well, only his second catch of the year, and what a big time to get it. Kind of faked the screen using Spicer as a decoy that time and run the tight end middle screen.
So the Celina sideline can't breathe easy yet. Howell rolls out to the right, looking downfield. He fires it toward the sideline, and it's caught. Mays with the reception across midfield to the 46-yard line.
And Coach Fry is going to call a timeout. You know, in those situations when it's not a first down, it's run this low. You know, the clock running is as big of a concern as gaining the yardage. So it's a 9-yard gain. But in that timeout, in that example where you only have 2 timeouts left, you know, you're going to use it there.
Just 33 seconds left in this game. And boy, if you would have tuned in late in the first quarter, you never would have thought it would have been this tight toward the end of this game, because Celina was moving the ball at will. They were stopping St. Mary's defensively, and it was 21-0 before the Rough Riders got off the bus.
Well, these two teams never question the effort of either one of these teams, especially when they play each other. You know, both these squads and schools want to win this game so bad. And again, this is just a tremendous atmosphere for high school football. As you look around, there's just people everywhere. The crowds are packed. There's standing room only. It's a tremendous atmosphere for high school football.
Second down and a yard to go. Ball at the 46-yard line on the Celina side of the field with just 33 seconds left in this game. Howell will work out of the shotgun, a receiver to each side. Nearly lost that snap. He will bring it to the near side, then lobs it down the left sideline where it's caught by Tester. He's going to be brought down inside the 20 at about the 15-yard line.
Tester doesn't get many touches on offense, but when he does, he is a game breaker. That was an excellently schemed play. I don't know if it was planned that way, but Howell running this way, getting the cornerback to commit, and once that happened, Tester took off downfield, and now the Rough Riders are in business at the 16-yard line.
30 yards on that catch and throw from Howell to Tester. First down and 10 at the 16-yard line. Howell rolling to the left side. He's going to go out of bounds this time, and Spicer in the back of the end zone holding up his hands, indicating that he was open.
Well, Howell had a thought about it, but then he did decide, you know what, let's just get what I can get, but most importantly, get out of bounds. So there's 18 seconds left and only 1 timeout.
He picks up a yard on the play. Now just 18 seconds left as Howell will work out of the shotgun. He has Mays wide to the right, Slife wide to the left, and Spicer back there with him in the shotgun. Under pressure, lobs it left side. They set up the screen to Tester. And Tester's going to be wrestled down as he dives out of bounds near the 12-yard line.
Really nice play right there by Celina. Tester in open field makes a game-saving tackle with 8 seconds left. And St. Mary's is going to use their last timeout.
Now, from my vantage point, Paul, I couldn't tell whether Tester actually got out of bounds or not, so they may have had to use that timeout because he did not get out of bounds.
I think you're right. I don't think he did get credit for going out of bounds. So they're going to have to use that last timeout with 8 seconds left. Depending on how this works, if you go quick, you can get 2 plays out of this. But, you know, we'll see what Coach Fry decides to do. Has had a lot of success with the screen game, but screens take a little while to develop, and then there's a chance you might get tackled in bounds. If that happens, the game's going to be over with no timeouts left. If you have a play that you can run pretty quickly, whether it's a slant, a fade pattern, you can get potentially 2 different plays. Howell has been very accurate. He's 10 for 14 passing so far tonight.
He will be out of the shotgun here. A receiver to each side. Spicer back there with him. He lobs it left corner of the end zone looking for Slife, and it's going to be incomplete out of the back of the end zone with just 2 seconds left on the clock.
And Slife at 6'1", kind of a taller target. We've seen him pull in some long passes before for the Rough Riders, but that's the one play that they had. Took 6 seconds. Now with 2 seconds left, barring a defensive penalty, this will be the last play of regulation.
Well, we've seen crazier things tonight. Ball at the 12-yard line. 4th down and 6 now. Howell out of the shotgun again. 2 seconds left. He's under some pressure, rolling out to the near side, looking downfield, and it's going to be intercepted at the 10-yard line, and this one is going to go to the Bulldogs.
A big stop by the Celina Bulldogs against their rival. Howell, under a tremendous amount of pressure, wasn't able to get a good throw off. And this late fourth quarter surge for the Celina Bulldogs is going to thwart a tremendous 21-point comeback for the St. Mary's Rough Riders.
Yeah, the Rough Riders showing just a tremendous amount of heart just to get it back to even at 21.
You see Bigelow is the one that gave the pressure, and whether that was officially going to, they're going to say it's incomplete, so it wasn't going to be an interception anyway, but irregardless, the game is over, and the Celina Bulldogs win this big rivalry game.
Well, this one goes to the Bulldogs here in what will truly shape the final standings probably in the Western Buckeye League, as both of these teams coming in with just one loss inside the conference. The final here tonight, it was the Celina Bulldogs with a 28-21 victory over the Rough Riders. We'll come back and wrap this one up for you. You're watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.
TV everywhere.
TV everywhere?
That's right, everywhere. You can watch TV from your tablet, your phone, your laptop, any mobile device, anywhere you want.
Laundromat?
Yes.
Grocery store?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
What if I wanted to watch TV at home?
All your favorite networks all the time. It's TV everywhere from TSC.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Fantastic matchup here tonight in Celina. What you always expect in a rivalry game such as this one, Paul. Both of these teams came to play. Celina came early. St. Mary's rebounded, and just the rally fell short.
Yeah, just a tremendous ball game between two big rivals here in the Western Buckeye League, and the Celina Bulldogs win for the 4th time out of the last 6 matchups in this, and also this is the Bulldogs' first win against Doug Fry since 1998.
That's how important this game is, Paul. You paint your head. That's how important this game is. It's not just another game. You paint your head tonight. All right. We went into halftime with Celina on top 21-14 as the Bulldogs came out hot early, but the St. Mary's Rough Riders rallied, and with 4:56 remaining in the 3rd quarter, Spicer snapped off a 32-yard touchdown run to even things up at 21, and that was after a long touchdown pass to Spicer was called back on a penalty. And then the Bulldogs able to put together a final drive, helped out by some penalty calls, and they get into the end zone.
Yeah, that was a big scramble run, recognizing the blitz by Hoying, and then after a couple plays was able to finally push it in for the Bulldogs to give them the final score and the lead. Now the last play of the game right here, this is supposed to be a bootleg to the right. You can see middle linebacker Isaiah Eichler coming unblocked up the middle, forcing Howell to change his direction, going away from where his blocking is, and then Bigelow able to kind of wrestle him to the ground, thwarting the desperation pass. But even if he was able to go to the right, we have a nice wide shot, great camera angle to look at the coverage that was given.
And there was not a soul open downfield.
So this time, let's kind of focus on the receivers in the secondary as the play develops. Again, this is supposed to be a bootleg to the right, as you can tell by the protection. The backside's kind of opening up to protect the other side. They're pulling guys to the right-hand side. But now look at the receivers. Okay, it looks like that Gross might be coming open, but still there's a safety coming up right there. There's green shirts, at least one wherever white shirt is. And then Howell just really didn't have a chance. But there wasn't really anyone open to begin with, so just tremendous defense there on the last play of the game by the Celina Bulldogs.
And Bigelow breathing down his neck the entire time that he was looking downfield. So Celina struggled at times on defense tonight, but they were able to come up big on that final play and keep St. Mary's out of the end zone. So the Rough Riders, with the loss, fall to 5-2 and 4-2 inside the Western Buckeye League. Celina now 5-2 and 5-1 inside the Western Buckeye Leagues. Wapakoneta won big tonight, so there won't be a change at the top of the league standings, but how things shake out for that second spot will yet to be determined.
Well, you know, this St. Mary's team still plays that Walpock team down the line, and they will still have a lot to say in the battle for the WBL championship. But as of tonight, Celina maintains their position right behind the Redskins as the number 2 team in the Western Buckeye League.
Well, there's your final score. Celina with the 28-20 win on homecoming. We want to thank our producer, Todd Utrip, our technical director, Adam Dell, our statistician, A.J. Lacey, our cameraman, Jim Miller, Josh Miller, Cody Voorhees, Jordan Minning, and I'm forgetting somebody, Luke Catahenry, doing a great job here tonight in Celina. So for Paul Sadler, I'm Dan Hearn. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Again, your final score here at Celina Stadium. It's the Bulldogs 28 and the Rough Riders 21. Thanks for joining us. You've been watching high school football on Game Face Ohio.